Hello, my name is Dustin Christensen, and this is the case study on Truman Elementary and improving reading scores. What do I know? I am a second year principal at Truman Elementary. I've done some observations in the elementary, and then I called in a reading specialist to do some more observations, and she provided some recommendations to how we can help improve our reading. We have very low state reading scores compared to our math scores. The parent teacher organization has taken notice and would like to know why our reading scores are low and what we are doing to improve it. And then there's a grant proposal to help improve our reading scores that I was asked to write up. The reading specialist did some observations and came back with instruction is not effective at all. They only have 60 minutes, and research says that's not enough. All they do is whole group and worksheets, and reading is not individualized or personalized. Some questions. What do I need to know? Why are they having 60 minutes of reading instruction? Is there collaboration among grade level teachers when it comes to reading? Are students loving reading, or is it just boring and students aren't interested? What strategies are teachers using besides whole group instruction and the use of worksheets? The challenge. As a school principal, we have low state achievement scores in reading across the board 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and last year. And this is a comparison of math to reading. The teacher instruction is not effective. There's only 60 minutes of reading. There's whole group instruction, not so much. They don't break them up and differentiate into smaller groups, and they use worksheets after worksheets. Parent-teacher organization president wants me as a principal to make a presentation on what we're doing to improve and how we're going to make that happen, and they are very concerned with the low reading scores. First and foremost, to start this improvement, I would try and get a PLC framework where teachers are working together and collaborating to analyze and find essential learning targets and standards in all core content, and to attend professional development in regards to best practices in ELA, reading, and math. We would attend PLC institutes uh, and do a learning by doing book study and a book study on focus. We research strategies and use support enhance the reading instructions such as active reading, partner reading, responding to literature, written responses, student-led, in-depth discussion, and responses to fiction and informal literature. Content and informational text will be integrated into center activities. We would use common formative assessments and review best practices in reading. Students will participate in interventions determined by PLC teams, use of MAP and/or other assessments. Interventions we would research would be decoding power, reading recovery, soar to success, read naturally, leveled literacy intervention, number world, MobyMax, Khan Academy, and much more. In the earlier ages, the plan will be to utilize the district instructional facilitators and reading specialists within the K through 3 PLCs. The strategy is to specifically improve performance in relation to improving reading earlier. Teachers will use benchmark for students every 3 to 4 weeks, and then Vocabulary will be taught to increase proficiency in speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Instruction is provided in a variety of settings. Classroom assessments, and then collect all data and information in regards to student growth. Formal assessments, level benchmarks are some things we would use. Map and comparing scores of individual and map tests that helps compare scores of individuals or groups of individuals. We are able to get an idea about where they're at. In order to track, PLC meetings will be logged and formulate data during each meeting. All teaching staff will create an individual action plan telling myself and the district how they are going to help improve reading scores within their classroom. Teachers will use differentiation to address the needs of non-proficient and high-scoring students. Present growth data to stakeholders and write up the grant proposal. We would do this, collect the data, I would create a presentation, go to the PTO, present it, then go to the Board of Education and present it, ask for some feedback, and then write my grant. As a teacher, and I've taught reading in years past, and I know what's best, what I think is best, and what I found is best is we gotta sell students on reading. I've noticed there's been a trend where kids don't love to read, and why is that? It's boring. They're not interested. And as a teacher, I think it's important to do whole group instruction for about 20 minutes. Let them go dive into some technology. We live in the 21st century. We can use a lot of vocabulary development such as Quizlet and other MobyMax and other technology-based softwares. But then small group is important, breaking them up into small groups, asking them discussion questions, helping them learn to comprehend, and then independent reading. This is important. So, as a school, we will use vocabulary development. We will read and write. We'll have discussion time, and those who need intense intervention will have a 90-minute block, and while others will be able to have other classes. So we'll have a reading teacher that does this 90-minute block to really help hopefully improve the reading scores for those who need it. The PTO, I will get all this data collected, present the plan, and ask for feedback, and then write and submit the grant. We have a lot we have a lot of work to do to improve our reading achievement across the board. Reading and writing are both important, and just bringing in kids and doing whole group and not breaking up, discussing, having them write is not effective. It's kind of saddening. That's what they were doing for the reading instruction. Teaching students to become literate citizens is the primary goal of schools. The ability to read and write prepares students to be successful throughout their whole life, their educational, professional, and personal lives. This plan provides guidance on developing a systematic approach to teaching reading, writing, language, listening, and speaking for Truman Elementary from early childhood to adult. We are the foundation. We are providing fundamentals to these kids when it comes to reading. And it's important so once they get older, they won't get frustrated and down on them because they weren't taught how to read. This will be a collaborative and continually improving effort to clarify how we're going to help create literate students. This is through curriculum, looking at assessments and how we instruct. Also, it's not only how teachers instruct, but what are the steps and preventions we have within our school for reading. Also, enrichment and supports those who know how to read. How are we going to enrich and challenge them? And I think, lastly, it's important to have reading and writing across the curriculum, across all content areas. We don't just have to have reading class. They can read and write in science and social studies and English and math. Incorporating that is going to help improve our reading scores. Some things as a principal that will be a challenge and will be some issues is creating a team that shares the same vision for reading and learning. Some teachers have their own ways and others don't. How can I foster that culture? Secondly, having a buy-in from board, staff, and community. Clearly, we have buy-in from the community because we have parents who are concerned with the reading achievement scores. Will we get the grant after putting in a lot of work and preparation and collecting all this data? What will the data show once we start this change in instruction for students? Will students show growth? That's my main thing. Will they show growth, or will we have to go back to the drawing board to figure out how we can improve the reading scores? Reflection of Standard 8, effective educational leaders engage families and community in meaningful, reciprocal, and mutual beneficial ways to promote each student's academic success and well-being. Creating that shared values and beliefs is important. The school leadership team process and starting to attend POT meetings, as well as having PTO members attend school improvement meetings, will provide a collaboration effort amongst not only staff but also the community members. That's very important. School improvement will be at the center of what we do. We can't just get in a rut and not think we're better than other people or other schools. We got to continually learn and get better. This regards curriculum, how we assess, also behavioral, school activities, and professional development. Lastly, as a principal, keeping open dialogue is important. Having newsletters, website updates, attending PTO meetings on a bi-monthly schedule, updating social media, showing parents what we're doing within our elementary is important. Parents love to see what their students are doing. We live in the 21st century. Why not use technology and help them see what their kids are doing while they're at work? Classroom teachers will have weekly communications, attend school improvement meetings, and have continuous feedback with their students, parents, as well as with administration. Having school improvement meetings, have PTO involvement, have staff, attend parent-teacher conferences, as well as have some fun nights to show how their kids are growing. Thank you for listening.